All right. Hi, everybody. Welcome to another Therapy Thursday with Rachel. Appreciate you for coming in. Today, I have a special guest. You have seen her before. And so I have Miss Maya Moore with me, and we are going to talk about a kid's view on navigating life changes. I think we all navigate, the various things that happen in life. But Maya was actually the one who picked this topic because she said, I was like, what do you want to talk about? And she just mentioned all the different things that have been changing in her life and said, this is what you want to talk about. So I want to give a quick little introduction for those who haven't seen you on the show before. Just talk a little bit about, who you are. You can just say your first name, what grade you're in, and why you chose this topic.
My name is Maya. I'm in 4th grade. I chose this topic because, I'm a sister of 2 brothers. I just got another brother. One of my brothers is 1 year old and one is 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
Well, almost 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of baby stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of baby toys. Speaking of baby toys, my mom actually just bought 2 more. It's like a little bouncer that goes in the doorway, and then like a walker. Like one, like you set the baby in, and then they can just walk. And then one, when they get older, they can push around, which my brother didn't actually have. Well, the 1 year old didn't actually have. He just had one to push around because he was walking at like 10 months.
Oh, wow.
He was like crawling and starting to walk.
Yeah.
And now that he knows how to walk, he's like running.
Busy.
He is very busy.
Yeah. So tell me, what do you think has been the biggest life transition, and how did you handle it? You mentioned having 2 brothers, so was that a pretty big one?
Yeah. A 5-month-old compared to a 1-year-old. There's a big difference. A 1-year-old isn't that fussy. He's still pretty fussy, but at least he knows a little better than kind of still a newborn.
Sure. So how are you handling the transition? So not just being a big sister, but being a big sister right back to back, one in one household, one in the other. And so how are you managing that?
I'll say pretty good. I get time to myself, time with other time with you.
Mm-hmm.
My dad and me hang out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because the 1-year-old, he's always busy watching TV, playing with his toys. Mm-hmm. So me and my dad kind of just play video games. When we went to the drive-in together, like I mentioned, it was kind of a daddy-daughter date.
Nice. So that's important. So what advice would you give to, parents and even other kids, when a new sibling comes in, how can you make sure that it's a smooth transition for the older sibling?
I would say for kids, even though you might not get a lot of attention, you'll still get a decent amount that won't make you feel left out. Of course, when the sibling is firstborn, yes, your parents will be a little more crowded around them. But as you see, as they get older, they socialize more. They spend time in their room more. Right. Just like me, I'm in my room on my phone, on my tablet. And they'll still be playing, and they'll be playing with you. You can play with your sibling.
Right.
But yeah, like when they're younger, of course they're gonna need more attention.
Sure.
They need their parents to change their diapers. They want bottles.
Yeah. So how do you make sure that you're getting enough attention?
I kind of just roll with it.
Okay.
Because I know that Caleb, the 5-month-old, he needs a lot of attention. Sometimes he's not very fussy, but he's a pretty fussy baby. He always wants something. He always wants like the breast milk popsicle, something like that.
Well, I think that, I mean, that, like you said, that's kind of just a 5-month-old. They don't know how to communicate any other way, so crying is their communication. So, instead of rolling, but I don't want you to feel like you ignore what you need either. So how would you tell kids to, say, okay, if they are having a day where it's like, my sibling is getting more attention than me, I want some attention. What are some things that they could say to their parents?
Well, first thing, they can tell them like what they're feeling, and then their parents will try to slither around their schedule in the baby's
slither around their schedule. Okay, I've not heard it like that, but okay. I'm sorry, that took me out. Okay.
And
parents will try to slither around their schedule.
I'm sorry. And they'll try to go around the baby's schedule as well to see what they can do, see if they can like take you out. Now, if you are younger, like I don't know, 5 years old or something, then they'll maybe try to like play with you kind of more often. But I mean, it's good. It's also good to know that, I mean, like I said before, your sibling does need more attention, but it just depends on what age they are.
Yeah, and that it's not even necessarily sometimes more. Sometimes it's just they need different attention, right? Because I think it's important, and that's why it's important, for the older sibling to communicate as well. But, it just looks a little different, so we might spend time together, but it might not be I'm holding you or anything like that because you're too big to sit in my lap. It might just be that we're going to play a game or we're going to do something or our interactions look different. Or maybe, you can help me cook or help me clean. I'd really like you to help me clean. So, just knowing that attention looks different for a while. But like you said, then eventually it levels out because then they need less and less, right? So let's talk a little bit about, everybody who knows me knows that, I co-parent and that, there we do have joint households and all of that. So tell me a little bit about how the experience was. So just like the life transition of like your parents going through a divorce and both of your parents remarrying and all of that. Like, how did you navigate that life transition? That seems like that was a pretty big deal.
Well, I mean, I wasn't really born when you guys had the divorce.
You were 3. You were just young.
Yeah, but I think like I was more hanging out with you more than my dad. I mean, it was kind of week to week kind of thing, but you guys were still evening out. And then we spent a couple years just hanging.
Okay.
We spent a couple years just being like mom and then dad on the other side. And then I think it was like 2019 you got married, or 2018?
2018.
That was 2 years ago.
2 years ago. Yeah. So how was it to then be like, okay, dad's getting remarried, mom's getting remarried, and now you have two step parents. So how was that transition?
It was pretty good. I was still getting used to new parents though, because I mean my other parents were just as fine. Well, I mean parent, because I mean I'm still with you. But I mean I was just kind of adjusting then. Now it's just kind of a normal thing.
Yeah, and you have a really good relationship with both your step parents too, so that's a blessing because not a lot of kids have that. So that's really good. What do you think helped make the transition easier? So, let's just talk about, so even when, I got remarried and everything, what helped make the transition easier for you to say, okay, this is my new step parent, this is coming in? What helped?
I think it was either before you guys or after. I think it was before you guys got married and you were still dating. But I mean, I think we were in a car all together, and then I just started making up nicknames. And it actually took me a couple of days. I started looking outside, looking at random things, and I started just naming him, seeing what it sounded like.
Yeah. So what she's talking about is I think we were engaged and she was trying to decide, like, okay, when he becomes my step parent, what do I want to call him? And we wanted it to fully be her choice because we didn't want to impress anything on her. We wanted, to make sure that it was the comfort level that she had, and something that felt good for her. And so that's kind of the process.
Made me laugh.
Yeah, and we were like, well, you just choose. As long as, it was respectful and everything was just okay, well, you choose. And so she tried out a few names, figured out what felt good for her, and then just kind of went with that. But I'm glad to hear that helped, that it, because it was your choice and, you didn't feel like anything was forced upon you.
Yeah, so no peer pressure.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So another big transition that's happened this year has definitely been COVID, right?
Yes.
And so there's been so many things going on, from not seeing friends and family to having to do school online and all that. So talk a little bit about, just how you've navigated COVID so far.
Well, hello.
Hey, Leslie.
Well, even though I don't really get to see many family members, we still get to see people, but we have to wear masks, distance more.
Right.
And I just think that's not really what we would be comfortable with. I mean, we really want to spend time with family.
Yeah.
I mean, especially since we went on that boat, we want to be on top of each other. But I just don't think it's a very comfortable situation right now.
Yeah.
I think it's very stressful, and now you've got to find a lot of things to go through. You've got a lot of paths, but you got to choose the right one so you don't go the wrong way.
Yeah. So how do you do that? How do you make sure that you manage that stress? Because you said it was stressful. So how do you take care of that stress? Because COVID, unfortunately, doesn't look like it's going away anytime soon. So how do you manage that stress?
Well, I just think about the times of before, when there was COVID, and what we could do after COVID, and even the things we can do now. I mean, even though we are stuck at home, I would say it's kind of a curse and a blessing, because I mean, we haven't been able to spend time together as family like this.
Yeah.
We've always been at school, been at work, but now since you have to stay at home, you're always by your family.
Yeah, that's like a silver linings perspective to have, right? Like every cloud has a single silver lining. Where, like you said, it seems like it could be hard, but you're kind of focusing on the present and the blessing of that we do get. This is probably the most time we've had to just be hanging out and spending, so that's great, because we're used to just go. So I love that. And just being present in the moment, like you said, not, having fond memories of things we did in the past, having hope for the future, but also being able to enjoy the right now moment as well. That's a really beautiful sentiment to have. We have a question. So how are you making sure to turn in your assignments for school, and do you have homework?
Well, turning in my assignments for school is actually it's actually a really easy thing. Actually click on the assignment, and when I'm done, there's actually a submit button that I can just click. So, and if I see something and I did it all and it's not submitted, I just make sure to submit it and then tell my teacher, like, yeah, it's, I turned it in a bit late because I forgot to press the submit. Do I have homework? No, not right now. I think we don't have homework because it is very hard to make homework virtually.
Yeah.
And she doesn't want to make us write stuff down, because then we're like, what do we have to do? So I think So I think she just thinks it's better we don't have homework and just stick with regular work now.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean, the regular work is challenging.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it is 4th grade.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we're going over reviews in 4th grade, you review things you might not remember.
Exactly.
So it can actually be really difficult. But for me, I actually kind of remember the things I learned in 3rd grade. So I mean, that is also a very much help. But overall, no, we do not have homework.
Okay. Another question. Do you have any time to hang with friends or classmates virtually?
Well, no, I don't really communicate with my friends because, I mean, I do have their number, but I mean,
What about the Messenger kids?
Well, yeah. Well, she's talking about friends. I mean, that's kind of relatives.
Oh, well, yeah.
Any classmates? That's only when we're like in school virtually.
Right. But you did say that sometimes you get to like chat a little bit before the live stream starts, right?
Yeah.
So before the teacher will start her lesson, you can chat for a little bit. And that's nice to get to know, especially because another transition, this was a new school for you, right? So not only are you transitioning to learning how to do school virtually, but at a brand new school where you don't know anybody and the majority of the kids have been there since kindergarten. So, you know, Maya's a little trooper. I'm telling you, she is so resilient. And I'm so proud.
I am like, I would say I'm the kid who raises her hand so much in class.
Yeah, super engaging, you know, and that's good. You know, you got to go after your education. So I'm proud of that.
If I want to get into a good college, why am I talking about college?
Well, you know, if college is what you want to do, then it's, you know, never too early to start thinking about it. But
it is too early. I'm only in 4th grade. I'm not even in middle school yet.
Yeah, but you can learn habits now that teach you. So doing your homework on time, paying attention in class, those are things that you still have to do when you're in college. So see, you already got some college skills and you didn't even know it. All right. Have there been any other transitions that you can think of that, you know, you've had to kind of navigate throughout this time?
Not really. I mean, the new brother and COVID, I mean, those are basically just
those are big enough, huh?
Those are the priorities I'm focusing on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Leslie says never too early. That's right, never too early. So what's your advice in getting to know the new classmates and make new friends at a new school virtually?
Well, as this woman over here.
You forget my name? Mom.
As Mom said before, we can chit chat before class.
Why don't you tell me? Remember, we just talked about this at dinner the other night when I said, like, how could you get to know some of your new classmates? What remember what you told me?
Yeah. So I actually asked them like starter-based questions that would like begin a friendship or just begin talking to one another, like what'd you eat for breakfast, or or what grade have you been here from? I feel like I'm getting to know people a little better, and I think if people actually asked, I'd actually be friends with a decent amount of people in class. I mean, if they asked, but they kind of just stay to themselves, like, I don't know if she's going to say yes. They're being hesitant.
So you're like waiting for them to ask you to be their friend?
No, I mean, I'm still trying to get to know them as well.
Right.
But I just don't think, because I mean, their questions seem a little unsteady to me.
Like how? What do you mean?
I don't know.
This vocabulary. So like so are they not, you feel like they're not asking you the right questions, like to get to know one another? Is that it?
I mean, if you put it that way.
Okay. So maybe this is a good way for you to kind of lead by example by like asking them the questions, and then maybe they can ask it back, because like it takes time to build friendships, right? So you have to give each other time. You've only been in school what now for a little under a month, and so you gotta take some time. But I think you're doing a great job at just trying and starting out. It's a lot going on. Good. So let's see. How is it to have, me working from home and then working from school? So just the transition of like everybody's at home all the time, because before you might have, I know you are always home with the parent because you're a kid, but you might have time where it's like, oh, I'm at work and then I come home, or, all that. So how is it when the house is always full and everybody's always home?
Well, it's good. Sometimes I would just like some peace and quiet to play my games, and Caleb's always screaming.
Yeah. He gets excited about life. He's excited about life. He's learning all these things.
Yeah, I know he's excited, but I'm like, if you could just scream a little softer, I'm trying to enjoy my video or my game.
I wonder if parents feel that way. I
already know what you feel. You're always saying, Maya, can you bring me this, bring me that, or can you quiet down? I'm trying to put Caleb to sleep, or something like that. So I already know you feel that way.
Sometimes, but like you said, it is nice to just sometimes have peace and quiet. So, while the weather is nice, to be able to go sit outside or something. So what are some suggestions for, families to do with winter coming up, and people are going to still be in the house all the time, what are some good suggestions for, I guess basically everybody to kind of keep their sanity, their peace of mind with everybody being home?
I don't really understand that question.
Sure. So how do you not go like stir crazy and be like, I gotta get out? What are some things that you can do throughout the winter time, since we're still not going to be like going out and seeing family and all of that?
Well, this is actually from the other live stream where a kid's vision from COVID. This is actually kind of what I said. To just like take that time to yourself and just relax, calm down, be like, okay, it's okay. Even though there's not much peace and quiet, and everybody's in the house making noise, just calm down. You can relax, or even like take a little nap or something to just kind of relax to kind of just relax and get all that stress out of your heart, and get all those bad thoughts out of your mind. Like,
are you gonna start taking naps? You just said that was a great suggestion, was to start taking naps and get the stress out your heart. That's what you said. You just said earlier that life transitions are stressful, right? You guys, y'all heard that, right?
I'm talking about other people.
People in general.
People in general.
Okay. Okay.
I guess I wasn't specific.
Oh, excuse me, ma'am. Okay. So we'll open it up to the audience now. So if you guys have any other questions just about life transitions, or just questions in general, do you have anything else you'd like to share, or things that you've been able to just think about? I know. Miss Jazz is like, what? Or TT Jazz is like, come on now. I can't. I know. All this personality. Yeah, I think that's a life transition that parents have to go through, is when their child becomes more and more like you every day, and then you can't even say anything because you're just like, that's my kid. It's like a mirror image.
It looks just like you. The parent, she acts like me too.
Yes, absolutely. Goodness. But did you have anything else you'd like to share?
Not really. I think that's like mostly what you really can do. And now, there's not much you can do because you're kind of stuck at home.
Yeah.
As we can also like you said, go outside and just breathe in the fresh air.
Yeah, especially fall is coming.
Yeah,
the leaves are going to be changing.
Children play in the leaves.
Yep.
Parents just be like, why is my child doing that?
I might play in the leaves myself. I'm a big kid. I'll have fun too. So what's one thing you're looking forward to after COVID is over? You know, because we do believe and we have hope that this is going to be over. This is just going to be a season. So when COVID is over, what's like one of the top 3 things that you want to do?
The first thing, go back to Coca-Cola World.
Okay, World of Coca-Cola in Georgia. That was fun. We did that last year in October.
Another thing, go get Starbucks.
You can get Starbucks now, but you don't even drink Starbucks. We're a Dunkin' family. Dunkin', if you want to run some coins, you know, because America runs on Dunkin'. Rachel runs on Dunkin'. But okay, so go to World of Coca-Cola. What else?
Go to World of Coca-Cola. Go to Mississippi.
Mississippi. Okay, I've never been to Mississippi. I think I've driven through it. Okay, why Mississippi?
Because in pictures, Mississippi is very beautiful.
Okay.
It is very, very beautiful.
Okay.
And I think when we visit it, it'll be like a whole world of beauty.
Yeah. Okay.
It's surrounding us.
It'd be good. You know, Mommy is all about history, so we probably would have to go drive by some like slave plantations, see, you know, where maybe some of our ancestors came from, although my family comes from Georgia. But you know, you gotta learn about life too.
Can't you read those on the internet and in history books?
Sure, but then you go and you see the history in real life. So all right, so you want to go to World of Coca-Cola, you want to go to Mississippi, and what's the other top 3 thing that you want to do once COVID is over? Once
COVID is over, I want to go to a beach.
Yes. I'm with you on that one. A beach, yes.
A beach, because I just cannot like the fact that we cannot go to beaches. Yeah. Everyone is on a beach. Yeah. And we'd have to be wearing masks, so we can't even go in the water.
Right. Yeah, that was a hard one for the summer. Just not doing all the activities that we normally do, because usually we're out a lot in the summer, you know, in camp and doing all this. And so our rhythm changed a lot this year. But like you said, finding the silver lining, you know, we had to be really creative about how to spend time with one another, how to be intentional about spending time with one another.
Speaking of creative, another thing you can do if you're like stuck in boredom and you need something to do, for parents, you can wash dishes or take a nap, like I already said.
That's every parent's dream, being able to take a nap.
And as for you, Mom, you're like an artist.
An artist. Artiste.
Artiste. You love art, so like you always love the pictures on TV. I'm sure if you had the time, you would just look at it and paint it.
I really wish I could. I haven't done art in a while, so yeah. So
you just paint pictures, like you painted that, you painted that, you painted that, you painted that. Mostly what's in this room, you have painted.
Yes, ma'am. So yeah, so tapping into some creative outlets would be really good too. So, and I think that's another great way. We're talking about life transitions, but I think especially for those who are making stressful life transitions, art can be a really beautiful way to really cope and everything. Because a lot of times, especially in therapy, we always hear about like journal, all that, right? But not everybody is a writer. Not everybody feels like, they want to sit down and they want to write. And so doing art can be a really good outlet. So that's a really great thing. And have another comment. So PT Leslie says, or the kids can do the dishes. I think that's a great skill. That's a great skill to learn. I'm all for it. There was a time when Maya used to ask to do the dishes. She wanted to help. I have a picture of you. You don't remember when we were at our old apartment? We were at our old apartment. And you're like, Mom, can I learn how to wash the dishes? And you had on gloves and everything, and she was washing the dishes. And you know how long that lasted? About one day. It was a beautiful day, though. It was one of the most beautiful days.
I don't believe it.
I'm gonna show you the picture. I'm gonna find the picture and I'll show it. But anyway,
you can still have it. Your phone is like backed up.
Oh, I have it. Don't worry. So anyway, so thank you guys for coming on. We just wanted to hop on really quickly, just talk about life transitions. I think it's so important. And if you've not sat down with your kids and had a conversation about maybe just the different things, because I think that's one of the ways that you raise emotionally intelligent children, right? Is that you give them the opportunity to express how they feel about all the things going on. Titi, let's see. I got witnesses. I got receipts. Okay, I'm gonna post a picture.
But that's only one. Oh, two.
I'm gonna post the picture because I got receipts.
Two against
but yeah, that's how you raise emotionally intelligent children. You give them the space to talk about, the different things that are going on, right? I remember even when I got engaged and everything. Actually even before we got engaged, when we were dating, I checked in with Maya, about it, of like, hey, how would you feel if we were going to get married? How would you feel about this, that, and all that? So really checking in, because major life transitions, kids are very resilient, but we don't want them to always just feel they have to just roll with it, right? We want to give them an opportunity to say, hey, this makes me feel uncomfortable, or I'm afraid about this. You said like what?
I said like the TV show, Just Roll With It.
Mm-hmm. I've never seen that. But
I know you have.
Okay. But, it's really important to create space for our kids. And this is how we get teenagers who want to talk to us, right? This is how we get young adults who want to talk to us, is because you're laying that foundation now while they're younger of saying, I'm a safe space. Come and talk to me. Come and, let's work through this transition together. And if a really stressful transition is about to come to your family, don't hide it from the kids. And then the day before it happens, be like, oh yeah, this is happening. Try to include them as best as possible, keeping them in a child's place, but include them as best as possible to say, hey, I'm trying to prepare you. This is what is probably going to be coming, and then letting them have their input on it. Some stuff they might not change, right? So if you're buying a house and you've already decided where you're going to buy your house, they're not going to be able to say, well, hey, don't buy a house.
Titi Leslie loves that show.
Oh, see, y'all have to.
I've got a witness.
You got to put me on then, okay?
We'll find it on Disney Plus tomorrow.
Got you. So you include your kids as much as possible, because again, as you see, they understand life transitions and they are affected by them, and so you want to make sure that you are giving them, the time and the space to be able to share what they're feeling. Brent says building that open door with your kids early pays off years down. Absolutely. And I think especially for those in my generation, we know kind of the opposite of what happens, right? A lot of our parents are kind of in that baby boomer generation, and then there wasn't a lot of open doors of communication. It was just kind of like, well, this is what it is, or kids should be seen but not heard, and all that. And so we really didn't have the space to say, I feel this, or I don't want this to happen, or this is how I felt when that happened. There wasn't a lot of space for that. And so I think now especially the millennial generation is doing a really great job at being very intentional about the feelings of our children. At what point do you encourage the fact that it is now the new norm when their discomfort seems like whining? Ooh, that's a good one. So I think, I think there's definitely a difference, right? And so one of the things that I've told Maya, even from early on, was you can be upset, but you can't be disrespectful, right? You can tell me I'm upset, I'm mad at you, I'm sad, I don't like this, but there's a way to do so and to share without being disrespectful. I remember one time, I want to say it was maybe a year or two ago, I remember she was really frustrated and she was like, I'm not trying to throw a tantrum, I'm just so upset, and she was able to, in that moment, realize, okay, it may sound like I'm whining and throw a tantrum, but this is the reaction that I'm having to my feelings, right? And so you have to discourage. Whereas if, perfect example, before we got on the live stream, I'm like, Maya, go put your phone down. And somebody didn't want to put their phone down. And then it was like, and we had a whole thing where it was like,
in the middle of my game.
We better get our lives together before we get on this camera, right? Or they go see the real deal Holyfield. So, it's like there has to be that balance, right? Where you're saying, I want to encourage you to express your feelings, but I'm not going to let you whine, so I'm not going to, if you're telling me I'm upset because I thought you said we were going to go get ice cream after the store, but now we're out of time because we spent too much time in the store, you could be upset. What you're not going to do is whine then for an hour afterwards and say, oh, but you said we were going to go to the ice cream store. You said you're going to go to, and I'm like, no, life happens. It's okay. We'll go at our next earliest convenience. So I think that's how you kind of differentiate between that, is just saying, it's okay to express your emotions, but with respect. And I think in that, as parents, we have to be willing to model that, right? They shouldn't see us whining either, right? They shouldn't see us, oh man, and being able to say, hey, I'm upset about this. I don't think this is fair, and this is how I'm going to navigate. I think we teach them. They watch our behavior. They watch how we respond when we have to be on the phone with telemarketers or something, and it takes 30 minutes to get connected, or we on the phone with Comcast or something, right? And takes that. They're going to watch those interactions, right? They're going to look and see, how's mom, how's dad, how's auntie, how's grandma handling these stressful things, because then that's modeling what they're going to do when they're in similar situations, So I think that's really important. What about you? How do you feel encouraged about knowing how to express yourself versus, well, let me ask you this way. Can you tell the difference between when you're expressing yourself and when you're whining?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Just want to make sure. We got that on video, forever preserved, right? No, that was a great question though. Because again, I think that a lot of times, especially I would say, especially in African American culture, if a kid was expressing something that was contrary to what the parent was trying to say, it was automatically seen as whining, right? Or as complaining or back talk. And it wasn't seen as, hey, they might just be expressing how they're feeling about that. And so I think we have to change that conversation and that narrative and say, kids are just little people. They have feelings. They have complex feelings. And just because they're younger doesn't mean that they aren't experiencing this vast array of emotions. And so I think that it's really important that we do that. Yes. So allow the expression, listen, acknowledge it, and reiterate this or these transitions are the new norm, and we are present to support them through it. Absolutely. That was beautifully summarized, Leslie. Absolutely. You want to allow it. Number one, don't shut them down. Don't repress them, because then you don't ever want to get to a point where you're feeling as though they aren't comfortable even sharing it, right? So you want to allow it. You want to listen, and listen not just to respond, but listen to hear them and truly understand them. And then you want to acknowledge it. You want to say, okay, I hear you. And then reiterate whatever transition is going on. But I think this works with children. This works with adults. I think, again, that's just good communication with people, and like you said, just really trying to hear someone's heart and hear what they need from you in that moment. So absolutely, I think that was a beautiful summary. So again, just thank you guys for coming on. Thank you for participating and just like bringing in the conversation. These are some great questions. If you have any other questions, or if there are any other topics that you want us to talk about, just even as a mother-daughter,
in the comment section of Facebook.
Even as a mother-daughter duo, if there are things that you want to hear a kid's perspective on, definitely let us know, because I think these are really important conversations, and I'm so glad that Maya feels open to share these things and to share her perspective. And so, maybe one day you might get Therapy Thursdays with Maya, or Mental Health Mondays with Maya, because we got to keep the some alliteration going, right? So you definitely, I think it's so important that that you have these conversations. Are there any things that you think you'd want to talk about in the future? Anything just off the top of your head? If not, you can think about it.
I mean, I think I'd have to think about it.
Okay, no problem. Well, thank you guys so much. So next Thursday, it will be a little more casual. Next Thursday is actually my birthday. So I will be celebrating life and all of that. I'm still gonna pop on. It'll probably be earlier on in the day, and just pop on and just probably have some, reflection about life and all of that.
And then we gonna be singing happy birthday.
So it'll look a little different, and then I'm really excited because the week after that, have another special guest coming on, and we are talking about some juicy topics. So I am so excited to announce that. So once I get everything solidified there, then we're gonna talk about that. But it is gonna have to do with intimacy and relationships and different types of things. So there's going to be some really good stuff coming. I'm excited to wrap this month up, and I'm excited for the beginning of October. And there's just a lot of really amazing things in the works. So I'm excited to share that with you guys. So again, next Thursday, I will be coming on and just inviting you guys into my little birthday celebration, and just, enjoying life and thanking God for another year. So thank you so much again for coming on and just sharing this time with us. Did you have any final thoughts you'd like to share before we go?
I mean, this kind of goes to everybody. I mean, I guess. Don't second guess yourself or second think yourself.
That's a word, a whole word.
Just do with what you feel that is right. And not what you feel that will be right for other people, because you still got to pay attention to yourself and take care of yourself as much as you have that urge to help other people. As much as we care about that, you also want to focus on yourself, and focus on your family, because if you don't take care of them, because I mean, you still gotta do your job, even if it's virtually.
But you gotta take care of your family. You've been listening to my sessions, haven't you? She's been sneaking listening to my therapy sessions. But no, yeah, that's so good.
I just know it.
That's so good. It's like, what is it like if you ever are on the airplane, they tell you, you got to put your own mask on first, right? So before you can help anybody else, you got to put your mask on, yes, she over here teaching, okay? But yeah, you got to put your mask on first and then help other people. So you got to take care of yourself. And don't second guess yourself. I love that. Yes, you do what you need. Okay, look, I know, right? That was a whole word. That was a whole word for me. Okay, that was a whole word. You don't even know. So yeah, absolutely, I appreciate that. Thank you. So thank you. Look, I ain't got nothing to say after that. It is what it is. So thank you. That was a wrap up. So thank you guys for joining. Again, I'll be on next week. Love you guys. So appreciative of all the support. I'll talk to you next week.
Bye.